On winter slopes, millions of monarch butterflies darken forests like living tapestries, and at coastal biospheres, sea turtles and hidden Maya canals keep ancient secrets. In this video, I'll show you Mexico's most astonishing places, from pink salt lakes to volcanic crater lakes and canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, and reveal the unbelievable stories behind them. Bristling with hypersaline lagoons, Las Coloradas on Mexico's Yucatan coast hosts some of the planet's rarest rose-hued salt lakes, painted by salt-loving microbes and pink shrimp. Do you know Las Coloradas' flamingo-tinted waters turn neon pink because of carotenoid-rich microalgae, halobacteria, and brine shrimp that thrive in its salt pans? Shallow evaporation pools, sliced by wooden walkways, concentrate salt until vivid pigments dominate the surface, shifting shades with sun angle and salinity. During the dry season, the color becomes so electric that satellite images highlight them as a distinct fingerprint along the Yucatan coastline. Local salt workers harvest crystalline mounds that sparkle white beside the blush lagoons. An age-old industry coexisting with fragile wetland ecosystems. From here, the wetlands flow into Rio Lagartos Biosphere Reserve, where mangroves, estuaries, and flamingo colonies create a linked mosaic of life. Visitors often arrive expecting a postcard, yet what they encounter is a living laboratory of extremophile life and seasonal rhythms. Guides explain how salinity, sunlight, and microbe populations pulse together to produce color shifts that scientists are still mapping. Photographers chase low light and reflecting pools to capture mirrored streaks of pink against emerald mangroves and azure skies. Conservationists, meanwhile, track tourism impacts and salt extraction to preserve feeding grounds for Caribbean flamingos and migratory birds. A short drive away, fishing villages and limestone shores reveal how human livelihoods and wild habitats depend on the same fragile balance. At dusk, the soundscape changes. Crustaceans ripple the flats while flamingos stir in shallow shoals, a living color wheel in motion. Understanding Las Coloradas means reading salt, sun, and seasons together. Every color shift tells a story of chemistry and climate. And as you move from the pink lagoons back toward broader Yucatan landscapes, the memory of those surreal rose pools lingers, like a secret reclaimed. Scientists hope these vivid pools will inspire stronger protection for the Gulf's wetland corridors and the tiny organisms that paint them. By safeguarding salt pans and mangroves, communities protect both a livelihood and one of Mexico's most improbable, photogenic natural laboratories. Beneath Chihuahua's wide sky lies the desert of Samalayuca, one of North America's purest dune seas. Miles of shifting gypsum sand rise and fall like an inland ocean, white as bone under the sun. Wind-carved ridges hold tracks of foxes, lizards, and the tiny insect species that survive here against long odds. At night, the dunes radiate heat and then give it back to the stars, creating mirages and a temperature glows that fool the eye. Dozens of endemic plants hold this arid landscape together, their roots knitting sand into whispering curtains that barely move. Ancient volcanic outcrops punctuate the plain, offering waypoints once used by caravans and now by modern explorers. Samalayuca has hidden springs and salt pans where unexpected flats of moisture support migratory birds and secret wetlands. Local folklore speaks of lost trails and cactus groves that guided miners and traders across the desert for centuries. Geologists come here for the gypsum, a mineral used in everything from pastry to plaster, exported from these dunes for generations. Archaeologists discover obsidian flakes and pottery shards, suggesting seasonal camps that linked this desert to the Sierra Madre and distant coasts. Those ancient routes become today's gravel roads, connecting Samalayuca to the border city of Ciudad Juarez and to the cultures beyond. The desert's stark beauty also hides dangers. Sandstorms can rise with frightening speed, reshaping the landscape in hours. Yet the dunes are a playground too, drawing sandboarders, astronomers, and photographers chasing light that is impossible to replicate elsewhere. At dusk, shadows lengthen into sculptural forms, and the silence becomes a kind of language that demands careful listening. Follow these dunes northwest, and the horizon will reveal the first low peaks that lead toward the Copper Canyon and highland villages. Samalayuca is not an endpoint, but a corridor, where wind, history, and migration stitch Chihuahua's heart to the rest of Mexico. Isla Espíritu Santo harbors underwater forests of giant kelp and one of the densest populations of California sea lions, creating a marine nursery rarely matched anywhere on Earth. Do you know Isla Espíritu Santo is part of the Sea of Cortez, often called the world's aquarium, and its sheltered coves nurture newborn pup colonies and migrating whale sharks in the same season. From above, the island's cliffs drop into turquoise lagoons so clear you can read the patterns of the sandbars from a small boat. Beneath the surface, colorful coral gardens and shimmering schools of fish turn every snorkel into an encounter with a living kaleidoscope. The island's arid interior surprises visitors with wind-shaped cacti and rare shorebirds that balance life between desert silence and ocean song. Kayaking around sea arches and through narrow channels reveals hidden caves where sunlight fractures into beams that dance on kelp forests. Local fishermen and conservationists alike will tell you the island's true secret is how fragile and resilient its ecosystems are. Protected as part of a UNESCO biosphere reserve, Isla Espíritu Santo shows how careful stewardship can keep these nursery waters thriving for future generations. You can witness sea lion colonies lounging on sun-warmed rocks while curious rays glide by just offshore, an everyday spectacle that feels impossible until you see it. This closeness to marine life explains why researchers study the island to understand climate impacts on coastal nurseries worldwide. Sea caves on the eastern shore hold pale petroglyphs and evidence of human visits that trace a thread between ancient maritime cultures and modern explorers. Landing on the beaches, you might find smooth white shells and footprints that tell stories of long migrations and seasonal rituals. Isla Espíritu Santo connects the narrative to La Paz. Boats link lives and research. Chichen Itza rises where the Yucatan's vast underground limestone caverns meet the surface, fed by one of the most extensive freshwater cenote networks on Earth. Do you know Chichen Itza's sacred cenote once supplied life to the city and drowned offerings that still yield gold and human bones today? At its heart stands El Castillo, the pyramid of Kukulkan, engineered so precisely that every equinox a shadow makes a descending serpent. That astronomical choreography was not decoration, it was a public calendar. Law and ritual rolled into one stone instrument. Around the pyramid, the Great Ball Court hosts inscriptions and walls that record games with stakes so high they may have decided captives' fates. Archaeologists now believe those games were not purely sport, but complex ceremonies entwined with politics and cosmic order. The Caracol Observatory, with its spiral windows, captured solstices and planetary motions, turning this city into a living observatory. These subterranean archives connect Chichen Itza to the wider Yucatan environmental story, showing how droughts and floods shaped human choices. Scholars now link memory carved in stone here to trade networks reaching as far as central Mexico and the Caribbean coasts. Each column and stela becomes a ledger of alliance's conquest and the movement of obsidian, cacao, and turquoise. So when you stand before Kukulkan and feel a shiver of recognition, remember, you are seeing an intersection of skika, stone, and water. Chichen Itza is less a frozen ruin than an ongoing conversation between people, nature, and time. Every winter, over 100 million monarch butterflies converge on the Oyamel fir forests of the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve in Michoacán, clustering like living ornaments on branches. Do you know that this reserve preserves a single, multiple-generation migratory phenomenon that spans 3 countries and a journey of up to 4,000 kilometers, known simply as the monarch migration? From late October to March, the mountains near Angangueo and Ocampo transform into a fluttering cathedral, where wings darken the ski and trunks sag under the weight of millions of migrants. The butterflies enter reproductive diapause, surviving on fat reserves while clustered together in microclimates maintained by the high-elevation Oyamel firs. a tree found in very few places worldwide. Local communities have guarded these sanctuaries for generations, blending indigenous stewardship with modern conservation to protect both habitat and tradition. UNESCO recognition in 2008 helped spotlight threats from illegal logging and climate shifts that could push the butterflies higher until there is nowhere left to go. Guides lead silent pilgrimages along zigzag trails, and for the unprepared visitor, the sound of countless wings brushing together is strangely like rain. Researchers track tagged butterflies to map routes that begin in Canada and cross the United States before funneling into this cluster of forested peaks in central Mexico. Each spring, the survivors disperse and lay the foundations for new generations that will not complete the full migration until their great-great-grandchildren return. That intergenerational relay links Michoacan's highlands to cornfields and milkweed backyards across North America, a biological thread that stitches the continent together. Conservation here is not abstract. It's a seasonal economy and a cultural event, with villagers turning simple pathways into living classrooms about ecological interdependence. To stand beneath a canopy of clustered monarchs is to witness a phenomenon so fragile and extraordinary. It reframes what we mean by migration, survival, and shared responsibility. Visitors who preserve silence are often rewarded by shafts of sunlight that pick out orange wings and reveal hidden patterns of migration history. Conservation projects now plant corridors of milkweed and restore fir patches so that the next generation has stepping stones across a warming landscape. Artisans sell butterfly motifs, and schools teach children to count clusters so that scientific monitoring and local knowledge grow together. The site here is a living barometer, signaling wider environmental changes that ripple from Mexico's mountains to the farmlands where the butterflies breed. Tehuacán-Cuicatlán Biosphere Reserve, straddling Oaxaca and Puebla, hosts one of the planet's richest assemblages of columnar cacti and xerophytic plants. Do you know that these arid canyons also shelter archaeological evidence linking wild Teotihuacan to the first domesticated maize? Ancient irrigation channels, stone terraces, and seed caches found here reveal a slow, centuries-long relationship between humans and this demanding landscape. The reserve's steep limestone gorges create microclimates where fog, shade, and scattered springs allow pockets of surprising green to persist. Birdwatchers follow the cliffs to spot endemic species like the Tehuantepec quail dove and migratory raptors that ride thermal columns. Meanwhile, botanists catalog succulents, agaves, and cacti, whose adaptations read like instruction manuals for surviving drought. Locals still harvest maguey for pulque and mezcal, preserving techniques that blend biology, culture, and economy to cross generations. Their knowledge helps conserve genetic diversity in agave and maize varieties that could prove vital under changing climates. Beyond biodiversity, the reserve's mosaic of canyons and valleys forms natural corridors connecting Oaxaca's highlands to Puebla's plains. That connectivity lets species shift, seeds move, and human communities trade, forging a landscape that's ecological and cultural at ease. Visit narrow trails to discover ancient petroglyphs tucked under overhangs and tiny farming plots clinging to impossibly steep slopes. Each terrace narrates survival, stonework that traps soil and moisture, turning aridity into habitability over millennia. Scientists now study Tehuacán-Cuicatlán to understand resilience, how life persists in marginal places, and what that teaches global conservation. Up on the slopes of Nevado de Toluca, Mexico's high-altitude crater lakes are among the few in the world to sit inside a 1.5-kilometer volcanic caldera and freeze in winter. Do you know that the twin lakes inside Sinantecoatl, Laguna del Sol and Laguna de la Luna, rest nearly 4.5 kilometers above sea level? The volcano, long considered sacred by pre-Hispanic peoples, holds layers of stories under its snow and rocks. Scientists call it an extinct stratovolcano, but its sculpted rim and the lakes at its heart still shape weather, water, and human ritual. From the fir forests on the lower slopes to the sparse alpine grasslands near the summit, the mountain is a vertical world of shifting climates. Rare highland plants and hummingbirds that survive the thin air make this one of the most surprising biodiversity pockets so close to Mexico City. Hikers follow trails that climb past volcanic crags to the crater floor, where the mirrored lakes change color with light and legend. Archaeologists have found pre-Columbian offerings around the lakes, evidence that Tecatl was a place of pilgrimage long before modern roads arrived. In winter, frost and occasional snow sculpt the crater into an otherworldly basin, and streams born here feed villages and the city of Toluca below. The mountain's water reserves have quietly sustained agriculture for centuries, linking geology, people, and the rhythms of harvest. Its highest peak rises to 4,680 meters, and from that vantage the entire basin of Mexico seems arranged like a map of time. Local guides will point out ancient rock art, basalt ridges, and the subtle signs of past eruptions etched into the terrain. Each season reveals a new face of the volcano, from flower-strewn meadows to wind-swept lunar slopes. As the sun drops, the lakes reflect a palette that has inspired myths and modern photographers alike. Small towns on the lower flanks still celebrate the mountain with festivals and offerings, keeping old rituals alive beneath modern skies. Conservationists warn that rising visitor numbers and poorly managed trails threaten fragile highland ecosystems and the water sources they protect. Yet even with pressure, Sian Ka'an remains a classroom for volcanic geology, for climate change studies, and for cultural continuity. To understand Nevado de Toluca is to read a layered history of earth, water, and people, and to feel how landscapes can hold memory. Keep watching, and we'll trace the paths from its crater lakes down to the foothill communities that still honor the mountain's spirit. Along the way, you'll learn why this volcanic giant has quietly shaped the lives of millions and why its protection matters for generations to come. Leaving the sun-sculpted ruins of Tulum behind, the coastline dissolves into the living mosaic of Sian Ka'an Biosphere Reserve, where mangroves meet the Caribbean. Designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Sian Ka'an is one of the most intact coastal marine ecosystems in the Americas. Here, braided lagoons and freshwater cenotes thread through limestone, feeding clear channels that run all the way to the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef. Beneath those waters, a staggering diversity hides. Sea turtles that return to the same beaches to nest, shy manatees, and dolphins that ride the wake of fishing skiffs. Above the surface, mangrove forests act like living kidneys, filtering runoff and storing immense amounts of carbon in their roots. Those same tangles are secret corridors for jaguars, howler monkeys, and scores of migratory birds that stop here on epic seasonal journeys. Local communities, especially the fishing village of Punta Allen, have learned to read tides and winds, blending traditional knowledge with modern conservation. Small dugout boats glide through narrow channels, while guides point out crocodile nostrils, breaking the surface and hidden oyster beds that sustain whole families. The reserve's coral edges connect Sian Ka'an to the great reef system that stretches toward Belize, making it a linchpin for marine life across borders. Archaeologists have even found traces of ancient Maya activity here, hinting at a long history of humans learning to live with the tide. Exploring by canoe, you can glide over submerged gardens of seagrass that are nurseries for juvenile fish. Those baby fish will someday replenish reefs and fisheries across the Caribbean, a cycle that ties a remote mangrove channel to markets and tables hundreds of miles away. La Huasteca Potosina harbors an extraordinary concentration of waterfall-fed turquoise pools and limestone gorges found nowhere else on Earth. Do you know the Tamul Cascade drops nearly 300 feet into a whirlpool of blue-green water in the mighty Santa Maria River? Winding downstream from Tamul, sunlight filters through dense jungle to reveal hidden pools called pozas with water clarity rivaling tropical reefs. The Cascada de Micos pours over travertine terraces, creating natural slides and secret caverns where bats and moths live in luminous silence. Float upriver in a rustic canoe, and you pass emerald rapids, submerged stone forests, and the occasional cliff-dwelling kingfisher. In the surreal town of Xilitla, the jagged sculptures of Edward James bleed into the jungle, linking art with the hydraulic wonderlands nearby. Karst formations carve secret subterranean rivers like the Cueva de la Golondrina, a cathedral of stone where sunlight meets subterranean pools. Local Huastec communities guide nocturnal swims beneath glowing moss and chant ancient songs that map the river's courses. Each cascade feeds woven ecosystems where orchids cling to wet cliffs and freshwater turtles patrol the shallows. Seasonal rains transform peaceful streams into roaring ribbons, carving caves and shifting the turquoise palette of every pool overnight. From paddle to plunge, the human scale shrinks against soaring cliffs, and botanical dramas older than recorded history. Follow the river trail, and one waterfall spills into the basin of the next, an unbroken chain of liquid staircases. This is a place where geophysiology writes in water, folding time into pools that mirror cloud and mountain alike. To leave La Huasteca Potosina is to carry its blues and echoes downstream, where the next valley waits to tell its story. Huatulco's 9 bays form one of the most intact coastal ecosystems on Mexico's Pacific coast, where dry forest cliffs drop into coral gardens and mangrove lagoons. Do you know Huatulco bays hide 36 beaches and secret coves only reachable by boat, and that some of those sands still host nesting green and olive ridley turtles? Boat skippers whisper about underwater canyons where schools of parrotfish and rays gather in seasonal blooms. Local guides point out mangrove labyrinths that filter the surf and feed estuaries stretching back into Oaxaca's Sierra Madre foothills. The bays were declared a national park to protect this mosaic of reef, lagoon, and tropical dry forest, an uneasy border where land and sea swap secrets. Walk one beach at dawn, and you might find dozens of turtle tracks converging toward the same watery horizon, an ancient ritual still unfolding. In the evening, the coastline silhouette glows as fishermen lantern their boats, a ritual that binds the modern town to centuries of marine knowledge. To explore Huatulco is to trace that living thread, from the gene-rich reef gardens under the surface, through mangrove roots, up into the dry forest hills where birds call. Scientists have mapped species corridors here that show how marine life migrates along the Oaxaca coast, underscoring Huatulco's role as a biological crossroads. By the time you leave these bays, you understand that preserving each little cove preserves a larger story of the Pacific, and that story is only beginning to be told. Copper Canyon in Chihuahua is not a single gorge, but an intricate system of 6 interconnected canyons that together cover more area and in places reach greater depth than the Grand Canyon. Do you know that Copper Canyon, or Barrancas del Cobre, shelters remote Raramuri communities who still traverse cliffside trails by foot for days, keeping traditions older than Mexico itself alive? Carved by rivers through the Sierra Madre Occidental over millions of years, sections of the canyon plunge nearly 2 kilometers from rim to river. Its labyrinth of ridges, hidden waterfalls, and forested plateaus creates sudden microclimates where evergreen pines meet prickly desert slopes. This dramatic elevation change supports surprising biodiversity, from thick-billed parrots and golden eagles in the high pines to agaves and cacti on the sun-baked terraces below. The Raramuri, often called Tarahumara, left terraces, trails, and cave shelters carved into the stone, and their long-distance running traditions still echo across the ravines. Steel viaducts and mountain tunnels of the Chihuahua al Pacifico Railway, known as El Chepe, thread the canyon, linking highland towns like Creel and Divisadero with the Pacific coast. From the train, you can watch sheer drops open into a patchwork of gorges, each turning copper in the late light. But the canyon's wildness is fragile. Logging, mining interests, and uncontrolled tourism threaten habitats and traditional Raramuri life. Community cooperatives and eco-guides now work to redirect travelers toward sustainable routes that connect Copper Canyon's natural wonders with broader conservation efforts across Chihuahua. As the sun slides down those copper walls, new colors and new stories emerge, some written in cliff dwellings, others along the rails that reach toward the sea. Stay with us as we follow El Chepe from Divisadero toward the Pacific and uncover the unexpected links between these high canyons and Mexico's distant coasts. Beneath the volcanic plateau's obsidian fields, Mexico cradles Teotihuacan, an ancient city where pyramids rise from a landscape shaped by past eruptions. Do you know Teotihuacan's Pyramid of the Sun was once rimmed with plaster and painted in vivid reds, and that its foundations sit atop a natural spring that fed ritual pools? Walk the Avenue of the Dead, and you step along a spine laid out with astronomical precision, each temple aligned to sunrises and solstices. Massive talud tablero facades and talismans of jaguar and serpent hint at a cosmology that blended earth, sky, and the obsidian that made the city rich. At its height, Teotihuacan housed perhaps 100,000 people, making it one of the largest urban centers in the ancient Americas and a hub for crafts, trade, and ideas. archaeologists still puzzle over the identity of its founders and why the city was burned and abandoned around 700 AD, leaving silent streets and sealed murals. Beneath layered ash and lime, exquisite murals reveal scenes of ritual performance and trade routes stretching to the Gulf and Pacific coasts. Nearby workshops turned local obsidian into blades and mirrors that circulated across Mesoamerica, linking Teotihuacan to distant cultures. Pilgrims once converged on plazas where smoke rose from incense fires and priests traced routes between the pyramids and the mountain peaks beyond. Those same peaks, the jagged silhouette of the Sierra de Guadalupe and the smoking cones of Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl, framed Teotihuacan and connected sacred landscape to human design. Centuries later, the layout influenced the Toltecs and later Aztec myths, and its ghost city inspired Mexico City's pre-Hispanic identity just miles to the south. Excavations continue to peel back new chambers, revealing sacrificial offerings, caches of ceramics, and an underworld of painted tunnels. As you trace the shadow of the Pyramid of the Moon at sunset, you can almost feel the pulse of a city that once set the rhythm for a continent. Walking from Teotihuacan toward the east, you can follow trade roads that lead to the great ceremonial mound of Cholula, another chapter in the story of Mesoamerican complexity. This is a place where geology and human ambition met, where volcanic stone became monument and sky became calendar. Understanding Teotihuacan reshapes how we see later civilizations and reveals how interconnected ancient Mexico truly was. We began beneath the marble blue surface of the Yucatan cenotes, where freshwater caves hold secrets older than the pyramids. From there, we rose to the petrified cascades of Hierve el Agua, where rock waterfalls defy time and gravity. We traced monarch butterflies across mountains so vast that millions blanket the pines each winter, a migration found almost nowhere else on Earth. Then the rugged canyons of Copper Canyon yawned into the horizon, a labyrinth deeper and wider than the Grand Canyon in parts. Along the coast, Sian Ka'an's mangroves whisper of coral reefs and hidden lagoons that sustain ancient marine highways. Isla Holbox taught us how bioluminescent waters and whale sharks can share the same gentle currents, turning nights into living constellations. Even the volcanoes, Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl, stand as both geological monuments and the heart of indigenous legends that thread through every town. And in cities like Oaxaca and San Miguel de Allende, colonial facades and living markets keep traditions alive in color, music, and food. Together, these places are not separate postcards, but chapters of one restless land shaped by Sian Ka'an story. What binds them is more than geography. It's a continuous human and ecological conversation that has endured for millennia. So when you remember Mexico, let it be not merely as a list of sights, but as a woven journey where cenotes feed rivers that reach the sea, where butterflies ride mountain breezes to plains, and where ancient stones still speak. Return to these images, and you will find that every canyon leads to a coast, every market to a mountain, and every legend to a living landscape waiting for another traveler to listen. There is more beneath each layer than any single visit can reveal. Keep exploring, because the next hidden wonder might be hiding in plain sight, just beyond the next bend.